Today we'll be creating a DFS namespace, setting up file replication. We'll also be working with the terminal server web access. I already have the Active Directory installed, and I have my DFS management console open on my server DC. On the left pane, I'm just going to click highlight namespaces, and on the right pane underneath the actions, I'm going to click to create a new namespace server. The first option we get in the wizard is to name the namespace server. This will be the server that's hosting it. It's 2020 server DC. Click next. Next thing we get is the namespace name and settings. I'm just going to name this public. You have the button down here will let you edit your NTFS settings. And underneath the local path share folder, I'm just going to click browse. I'm going to click on the C drive here. I'm going to make a new folder. Name it public. Name it SOPDC. Underneath the shared folder permissions, you have a couple of different options. I'm going to be using the fourth one, which is administrators have full access, other users have read and write permissions. Go ahead and click OK. Click next. Next we get the namespace type. You have the option of a domain-based namespace. Base namespace can be stored on one or more namespace servers and in Active Directory. I'm going to be using a standalone namespace, where the namespace is just stored on a single namespace server. Down here at the bottom you can see the UNC path that we would have to type in. Go ahead and click next. Next screen we're going to get is just to review your settings. Once everything checks out how you want it, go ahead and click create, and then you get a confirmation screen. You can see that our task to create a namespace was a success. I'm going to go over to my partner machine. I'm going to do the same thing. I have my DFS management console open. In the left pane I'm going to highlight namespaces. In the right pane I'm going to click new namespace. Name the server. You just type in the server that you're hosting it on. Click up next. The next thing you get is where you name your namespace. I'll be naming this comp docs. Once again, I'm going to hit the button to edit the settings, edit the NFS permissions. I'm going to leave the local path of the shared folder the same. I'm going to browse to the C drive. I'm going to make a new folder, name it comp docs. Go ahead and select that, click OK. Once again, I'm going to be using the fourth option for administrators have full access, other users have read and write permissions. We'll click OK. Click next. Next to the namespace type, we'll go ahead and click standalone namespace. Next screen we get will be to review the settings. Once everything checks out how you want it, go ahead and click create. And you can see here we get a confirmation screen telling us again that the task to create a namespace was a success. We'll go ahead and click close. I'm going to be adding a new folder to this. I'm just going to highlight the server 01/comp docs that we just created. In the right pane I'll be selecting new folder. The name of this folder, we'll be calling it marketing policy. Folder targets, we'll click on browse, and what we're going to do is to click on to create a new shared folder. The share name is going to be MSOP, and the local path of the shared folder, we'll click browse. We're going to go to our highlight our C drive, and we're going to click to make a new folder, and I'm just going to name it the same thing, MSOP, and highlight that. going to be using the fourth option of administrators have full access, other users have read and write permissions. We'll click OK. Make sure that our folder we just created highlighted. Go ahead and click OK. You can see that our UMC path has changed. Just go ahead and click OK once again. Go ahead and click OK again. And now you can see that our marketing policies folder has showed up. Alright, now I'm going to be adding the other servers file into the DFS namespace so we can set up the replication. I'm on my server DC machine and I have the DC SOP file already in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the 2020 server DC SOP and click new folder. I'm going to go to add, go to browse, and I'm wanting to get it off of my partner machine, so I'm going to type in server 01. And the file that I'm wanting to use is the comp docs. Go ahead and click OK. Click OK again. I'm just going to name this comp docs. Go ahead and click OK. I'm going to highlight the DC SOP. I'm going to click add folder target. Go to browse. Type in the server 01. I'm choosing the comp docs folder. Click OK. Click OK once again. And you see here that we get a thing telling us that a replication group can be used to keep these folder targets synchronized. Yes, we want to create the group. Go ahead and click yes. The first step we get is just replication group and replication folder name. I'm just going to leave the defaults. The replication eligibility is our next screen. It just tells us the folder targets. You can see one is going to the 2020 DC machine, the other is going to the 01 machine. Click next. Primary member, you want to set this for the machine you're setting up the replication on. Mine is the DC machine. Click next. We've got to go with the full mesh topology. Go ahead and click next. And you have a couple different options for the replication group schedule. You can have it replicate continuously, or you can have it replicate during specified days and times. I'm just going to leave it on the continuous. Next page we'll get is just review settings and create replication group. Once everything checks out, go ahead and click create. And then next is confirmation. You see that all the tasks were successful. Go ahead and click close. Move over to my 01 machine. I'm going to click highlight my 01 policies. Click add folder target. I'm going to click browse. And then this time we're going to be typing in our DC machine. And then I'm going to be selecting the DC SOP folder. Click OK. Click OK once again. And you see again we get the pop-up telling us that a replication group can be used to keep these folder targets synchronized. Do you want to create a replication group now? We'll click yes. Alright, now we've got our replication set up. Now I'm just going to test it and see if it is working. I'm going to open up Start, go to Windows Explorer. I'm on my 01 machine. Go to my C drive. Users, Student 1, Documents, Policies, Computer Policy. There's no YouTube at work. I'm going to type in, but I like Lady Gaga. I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go to my partner machine. Drive, Computer, C drive, SOP, Computer Policy. You can see, but I like Lady Gaga. Alright, I'm going on with the next part. I've already got the terminal server web access role installing, and I'll be showing you guys how to open up a program such as Paint using the TS web access. I've got the TS web access loading in on my DC right now, and I'll be using my O1 machine to connect to it. I'm going to expand the roles node, and then I'm going to click on terminal services, because even though we already installed the terminal services role, we still have to install a service for the terminal roles. So I'm underneath here, underneath role services, and I'm going to click add role services on the right side, and I'm going to click on the terminal server. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that pop-up. It's because I have Active Directory installed. Go ahead and click next. We get the specify authentication method. You can have it require network level authentication, or you can have it to do not require network authentication, is what we're going to use. Not requiring it lets computers that are running any version of the remote desktop client can connect to the terminal server. If you require the network authentication, you have to have a computer that's running a version of Windows and a version of the remote desktop connection client that supports network level authentication. Go ahead and click next. And then we come to the licensing mode. I'm just going to leave configure later check because I don't have any licenses. Go ahead and click next, and then this is where you specify your user groups that are allowed to access the terminal server. So administrators is there by default. I'm going to click add on the right side. I'm going to be adding my students group. I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I'm going to click check names on the right side, make sure I got it spelled right. Go ahead and click OK. You can see that it added the Contoso students group there. Go ahead and click next. This is just a confirmation screen. I got a warning that says that I may need to reinstall existing applications, and I have 2 information bubbles. It just tells me that the server has to be restarted after the installation is done, and that the Internet Explorer Enhanced Security configuration will be turned off. Go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click install. I'm going to go to start, administrative tools, terminal services, go to TS Remote App Manager. Alright, I've got the TS Web Access app and server installed. Now I'm on my partner machine, and what I've done is I've typed in the address to connect to my terminal server. Now I'm just going to go ahead and key in my credentials, see if I can connect. You can see here that it has let me on to the terminal server, but I don't have anything configured yet. I'm going to just exit out of this and go back to my DC machine. I already have my TS Remote App Manager pulled up, and I'm on the right side underneath the Actions pane. I'm going to click to Add Remote App Programs. First screen you get is just welcome you to the wizard. Go ahead and click next, and then the next screen you get is where you choose the programs you want to add to the remote app list. I'm going to select paint and go ahead and click properties. You have a couple of different options down here at the bottom. The one that we do want checked, which is already checked, is remote app program is available through TS Web Access. And then the one for command line arguments, you have the option to do not allow command line arguments, allow any command line argument, or always use the following command line argument. And you could use always use the following command line argument if you only wanted them to have paint running, and not a virtual desktop. And whenever they've closed the paint program, it would disconnect the terminal server session. I'm just going to leave everything how it is because the remote app program is available through TS Web Access. Check. And go ahead and click OK. Go ahead and click next. This is just to review your settings. You can see it's adding one program. Once everything checks out how you want it, go ahead and click finish. And you can see down here on the bottom of our TS Remote App Manager, underneath the remote app programs, it now shows paint down there. It shows the path to it, and it says TS Web Access yes, arguments are disabled. So now I'm going to go back to my partner machine. Type in the address here and see if it'll let us pull this up. Alright, now once again it's asked me for my credentials. I'm going to go ahead and log in with my domain name. Click OK. Alright, you can see that we're once again back on the TS web access, and remote app programs is clicked up here at the top, and you can see we have our paint program. I'm going to go ahead and double click that. See, we get a pop-up. So a website wants to start a remote connection. The publisher of the remote connection cannot be identified. But it does tell us that the remote computer is my DC machine. I'm just going to leave these little check boxes at their default for clipboards and printers. I'm going to go ahead and click connect. See, once again it asks me for my credentials. And you can see here that the paint program has pulled up. If the way you can tell that this is running on the terminal server, not our own, is if you mouse over the bar down at the bottom, it says Untitled Paint, and in parentheses it says Remote. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Paint on my regular machine here just to show the difference. Mouse over it, it just says Untitled Paint. It does not have remote after it. I'm just going to go ahead and exit off of here.